Greetings and salutations, everybody. Investigative pop culture journalist Popcorn Farts coming at you once again, gracing you all with my lovely presence. Talking today about the news that Spider-Man 4 is indeed happening. Destin Daniel Cretton is now replacing John Watts as the director of the upcoming Spider-Man 4 movie. Now, I have some thoughts and some concerns about this, being that the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy was pretty freaking perfect. And that's something that I'm seeing glossed over a lot on the internet today. Now, as you can see with my Spider-Man books here, I am a huge Spider-Man nerd. Probably more than Star Wars, even more than Harry Potter. Spider-Man is my guy. He's my GOAT. If you have any questions or concerns or information you're seeking about Spider-Man, I am a human walking encyclopedia. I eat that shit like it's candy, which is why I'm so concerned about Spider-Man 4 coming out. Now, for those of you that have seen the Homecoming trilogy, it was done to perfection, and it's very rare that in a superhero, especially a superhero franchise, where they stick the landing with the third movie. Very few times you see it. It didn't happen with Blade. It didn't happen with the X-Men. It didn't even happen with Spider-Man. If you think back to the Tobey Maguire movies with Sam Raimi, they weren't even able to pull that one off. Very concerned about this. This was the first time in Spider-Man, and if you talk about the Andrew Garfield ones, directed by Mark Webb, they didn't even make it to a third. They got to 2 and they fucking ran out of gas. So for a Spider-Man fan like me, it was a huge deal to see them actually stick the landing with the third No Way Home movie. No Way Home movie, a lot of people had doubts about. There were so many rumors going in. Would this happen? Would Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield appear in it? Everything about that movie, at least from my perspective, was perfect. Because the No Way Home trilogy, what I think that they did really good was throughout the entire trilogy, everybody was like, they didn't do Uncle Ben. They didn't do Uncle Ben. Some people liked that, some people didn't. Some people were like, well, where's Uncle Ben? And then other people like me were saying we've already had like the Uncle Ben origin story like 6 or 7 times now. We know what the deal is. Kind of similar to Batman, Bruce Wayne's origin story. Like, we don't need to see his parents getting killed for like the 8 millionth time. We know the deal. We know why Bruce Wayne's Batman. Same deal. We know why Peter Parker is Spider-Man. But what the No Way Home trilogy did, or the Homecoming trilogy, did really well, in my opinion, was they kind of suckered us into where all 3 movies were his origin story. By the time you get to the second act of No Way Home, you see that Aunt May is his Uncle Ben. Like, she's the one that gives him that "with great power comes great responsibility" speech. And through the help of the other Spider-Man and from the other universes, he's able to kind of grapple with her death and accept the responsibility that comes with being Spider-Man. He even gets his original suit, like his comic book accurate suit at the end of it, showing that he's finally taking up the mantle. And what I really liked about how that movie ended was it was the perfect representation of what Peter Parker is when he gives up his happiness at the end of the movie. He has the opportunity to go back and tell MJ and Ned Leeds who he is, what has happened, why they don't remember him, and he realizes in seeing that, and it's so beautiful if you're a Spider-Man fan, especially that of Peter Parker, because he sees that they've moved on without him. They don't need Peter Parker, and especially Spider-Man, in their lives, complicating it. Or so Peter sees it. So Peter makes the ultimate sacrifice and gives up his friends and to spend the majority of his days fighting crime and living in a rundown 1-bedroom apartment by himself. Now, a big reason why I don't want to see them do a 4th one is it gives me Toy Story 4 vibes, where Toy Story 3 was like the perfect goodbye. And Toy Story, it felt like the perfect goodbye. You couldn't have ended a trilogy any better than Toy Story 3. And it felt like the perfect goodbye. And Toy Story 4 felt like they had after saying goodbye, they had forgotten their keys and they came back in, and now you're just kind of standing there awkwardly with each other, like not really knowing what to do. I'm really hoping that's not the case with Spider-Man 4. Now, would I love to see a banger Spider-Man 4? Absolutely. I hope I'm wrong. There's a lot of good with this director that's coming in. He directed Shang-Chi. And obviously, that movie was a hit. The action sequences are good. I'm hearing a lot of people hype the action sequences, like him as like an action director, bringing the kung fu element into it, which could be cool. Don't get me wrong, like it would be cool to see in a Spider-Man movie, but to me anyway, the point of Spider-Man is always the heart. Like you're always going to want to pull for the heartstrings. Spider-Man works because you feel for Peter Parker. Like he's not your stereotypical superhero that gets the girl at the end of the day. Stan Lee purposefully wrote him that way. He's like a sidekick that always gets shit on. Like that's Peter Parker's lot in life. Like he's always late on the rent. He never gets the girl. He's not particularly good looking. He's a nerd and people shit on him. And meanwhile, behind closed doors, he has this entire secret identity. And little do the people who shit on him know, he's actually saving all of their lives. So that's kind of the moral. And you couldn't have written it any better for the Homecoming trilogy. So going into 4, I don't know how they're going to top that. It's possible they just go into Peter Parker's shitty life. But another thing I really liked about the Homecoming trilogy and how it ended is it leaves Peter's future completely up to the viewer's imagination. Like it's up to us to like interpret like where Peter went from it. Now me, I always just assumed it went with the comics where Peter continues to fight crime, be alone. Eventually he goes to Battle World and Secret Wars and gets his symbiote, but the Venom symbiote, but which is could be a whole nother episode entirely. I should probably get used to making these long drawn out videos if I'm going to be on YouTube, but I suppose I should just keep it relatively simple. You also have to forgive me. I'm always smoking weed when I do these things. For whoever is watching, if anyone is, I doubt it. The nice thing about like being irrelevant is I really am just ranting and venting to an audience of one. But I'm hoping that they don't drop the ball with Spider-Man 4. I've heard Sydney Sweeney's going to be in it, and she's going to be Black Cat, which would be fucking dope. I mean, obviously, Sydney Sweeney's gorgeous. That presents a bit of a dilemma, too, though, because it's like MJ and... I better be careful in how I word this. MJ and Felicia Harding, a.k.a. the Black Cat, in the comics, are kind of portrayed as equally attractive. Physically, like both aren't lacking in the looks department at all. Not to say that Zendaya isn't beautiful, but I mean, come on, guys, are we really going to compare Zendaya to Sydney Sweeney? I don't know. I suppose some people would make the same argument for Mary Jane and the Black Cat, though. Some people would be like, why would you want to be with that stuck-up redhead when you could be with a badass chick who wears black spandex and has huge tits? But I don't know. Another problem I have with them making Spider-Man 4 is it really needed. I mean, you brought in all these other Spider-Men, like Tobey Maguire is back, Andrew Garfield's back. Andrew Garfield has made it perfectly clear that he would like to do Amazing Spider-Man 3. And given his performance in No Way Home, I say let him. Let Andrew Garfield take another crack at it. If we're already stuck in this multiverse bullshit anyway, and we've already introduced it, why not just have fun with it? You know, take all those lemons that we picked off the tree and make one big banging ass pitcher of lemonade. There also comes the question, is how many more of these movies do you think Tom Holland has left in him? Because at a certain point, excuse the hell out of me, at a certain point, Tom Holland is a serious actor. Like, he has other ambitions than just to do Spider-Man. And I have to feel that as an actor, he saw and being a part of the Homecoming trilogy, there's got to be a part of him as an actor saying, maybe we should just quit while we're on top. I mean, we did it. We stuck the landing. We walked into the casino with $5 and walked out with $1 million. Do we really want to put it all on black? No pun intended if they bring in the suit. Which would be dope. I don't know. I'd be interested to see or hear what other people's opinions on it are. So far, it's all been pretty positive for the news about Spider-Man 4. I think I might be the only one who has like, I don't want them to do this. Which is weird because I love Spider-Man. I can never get enough Spider-Man. I still want them to do it. If they're going to do a Spider-Man 4, I'd like to see them do the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4. Like, bring back Sam Raimi. And would it suck? Probably. Because Spider-Man 3 was already showing them running out of gas. And Sam Raimi is not necessarily a comic book guy. Although, great filmmaker. You know, you don't always have to be, like, so hooked into the source that you're drawing from. Do you know what I mean? Like, Harrison Ford doesn't have to be a Star Wars fan to play Han Solo. Like, he's a badass Han Solo. The cast of The Acolyte didn't need to be Star Wars fans to. That's probably a bad example. But they didn't need to lie about it. Had they come out and been honest and been like, yeah, we're not really Star Wars fans. We're just doing this because we work for Disney. And they said, this is what you're doing. And we're like, okay. That I would have respected a lot more. But yeah, Sam Raimi didn't need to be a huge Spider-Man fan. He famously said when the studio was trying to force him to do, well, they succeeded in forcing him to include Venom into Spider-Man 3. He said, I don't get the character. Like, I'm not well versed in this area. You're making me create and write for something I'm not that familiar with. It's not going to be good. And he did warn the studio, and the studio were like, no, fuck you, make toys. So he did. And the end result was what it was. Now, Spider-Man 3 has obviously has its fans, me being one of them, but I can admit that it's also bad. And so I'm just hoping that's not the case. I would hate, I guess the moral of this video, and for me to kind of wind down my rant, is that I would hate to see them make the masterpiece that was the Homecoming trilogy. I wish people like really understood just like how big of a deal it is to stick the landing on that third film. Not a lot of franchises have been able to pull it off. Captain America, Toy Story, and Spider-Man are pretty much the only ones that were able to do 3 movies that were like just banger after banger after banger. Even the Dark Knight trilogy, you know, a lot of people will tell you that Dark Knight Rises is probably the weakest out of the 3. And I would have to agree compared to Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Look at The Godfather, for crying out loud. The Godfather, one of the most influential movies of all time, Godfather 1 and 2, and by the time that they got to the third movie, it soured everybody's mouth on The Godfather, to the point where a lot of people that made Godfather 1 and 2 are completely distanced themselves from the third one. So many franchises fail at this. Back to the freaking Future. Here you see me rocking my, I don't know if you can see it behind the books, but I'm rocking my Marty McFly Back to the Future 2 jacket. Back to the Future, God bless him, could not stick the landing on that third movie. Back to the Future 3 is no pun intended, it's a time train wreck. It's basically one with, you might as well play all the greatest hits, which is what a lot of these studios and directors do by the time that they get to the third one. A lot of them don't want to make a third movie. But this, you know, because contractual reasons and money, studios make them, and the product is what the product is. That's what you get. You get Triple H and Blade 3, and you get Topher Grace and has Venom. Like, these are the type of decisions that they always lead to. This is why a lot of the directors don't come back to do it. They're like, I'm out after this, and a lot of time the actors follow suit. Tom Holland not doing it though. Tom Holland not sticking with Tom Watts. Tom Watts is out, and the Shang-Chi director is in, and Tom Holland. Disney must own like these actors' souls, because when Spider-Man No Way Home came out, Tom Holland said that he was thinking he was done. Like, maybe it was time for Miles Morales to come in and they do a live action Miles Morales movie, which I have to assume was Tom Holland's very nice way of saying, I think I'm done. I think we just did a Spider-Man origin story set over 3 movies. It wasn't easy, and we pulled it off, and I think I'm done. And I think Disney pulled him behind closed doors and was like, shut the fuck up. You're doing this shit till you're 90, as Ryan Reynolds so infamously said of Hugh Jackman. And believe you me, folks, they are going to do it till they're 90. Whether it's consistently or not, they will put back on that spandex suit. This has been fun. I love talking Spider-Man. And I don't know who sat and watched the video. I usually get about 8 to 10 people. But if you did like this video and you want to talk Spider-Man, feel free to hit me up. You don't have to ring the bell or subscribe. Nobody ever does. And they don't even do it on other videos. I've been watching that from like other YouTube videos, and they always complain like, I see I got a lot of viewers, but no one ever subscribes. And I'm just like, fuck you. You have like 10,000 people watching your video. I have like 10. Who cares if they subscribe or not? But I suppose if you're making YouTube videos and you're doing it for money, that is a problem. That is probably a pretty big deal. But if you're just doing it for the fun of it like me, I just always kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I'm getting baked. I see YouTubers always come out here. They always have like perfectly produced shows, and I wonder how they do it. I'm trying to learn the camera shit, but it's a little different. Anyway, I'm rambling, and I'm taking up way too much of your time as it is. If you did stick around and watch this video, I appreciate it. Feel free to reach out if you want to talk Spider-Man. I'm always down. Peace and love be with you all. Mwah!